All right. Literally stop. Ah, there we go. Do, do, do. It's close that up. All right. Wow. The screen's really making me go oof. I don't know what to do about that. All right. So, guess we'll just start. All right. So, Draconic races. Um, Now we got what? We got the chromatic dragonborn, the metallic dragonborn, the gem dragonborn, and kobolds. Alright, ability score increases. These are easy. Increase one of your scores by 2, increase your score by 1. So they're really, really doubling down um, on this whole super flexibility thing for races. I'm wondering if they're just gonna release like a, I don't even know, just like redo all the races that currently exist because they just keep like the new way that they do races is different. I guess Tasha's kind of covers that, but it's just like they just don't care. It's just you get an ability score increase of 2 or 1, or you can do 3 different scores by 1. Like that just kind of makes humans better as far as ability score increases go. Um, you also have what do we got? We got languages, common, one other language. I feel like it should just be Draconic if you're the Draconic languages. I mean, it's fine that I guess you could pick whatever you want, but you're going to be a Dragonborn or a Kobold. You probably should know Draconic. Creature type. Alright, what does this say? Most player characters are humanoid. Of course, a race option present tells you what your character's creature is. Here's a list of all the creature types. Sure. These types don't have rules themselves, but some rules in the game affect certain creatures. For example, the text of Cure Wounds specifies that the spell doesn't work on the creature as a construct type. I don't know why they put this here. I don't know. So, creature type, they just say all these different things about it. Are they just saying you can just change it? I mean, they're just humanoids. Done. I don't know what it's doing. Alright, so let's talk about the chromatic dragonborn. After you get your ability score increases, you are type size medium, great. You're a humanoid, great. Walking speed 30, great. Chromatic ancestry. You trace your ancestry to a chromatic dragon, granting you a special magical affinity. One type of this chromatic ancestry. This determines the type. Okay. Black acid, blue lightning, green poison, red fire, white cold. Alright, breath weapon. When you take the attack action, you can replace one of your attacks with an exhalation of magical energy or 30-foot line. That is 5 feet wide. Okay, so it's always a line. Each creature in the area must make a DC equal to 8 plus your con modifier plus your proficiency bonus. 2d8 of type associated with your chromatic ancestry. On a failed save, half as much on a successful one. Increases by 1d8. Mary's 5th level, 3d8 11th level, 5d8 17th level. Okay. You can use it as many as times as your proficiency bonus. You regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. Alright, so that's better than the one and done. I actually am having, let's open up D&D Beyond right here. And just to remind myself what the Dragonborn, what the old breath was. Wasn't as good as that. That's what I... Okay. So, you can blah, blah, blah. Saving throw. Alright, so they used to have either lines and cones before. Okay, so now it's always a line. So... I mean, I don't know. Like, always being a line. I always thought lined breath weapons were a little bizarre anyway. Unless it's like lightning makes sense to me. I guess acid and poison kind of makes sense because you just like would squirt that out as like a liquid. But like fire and cold, I'd probably maybe just like if my player wanted to, if they wanted to make it a cone, that's fine. But so they go so before and before so the damage is about oh, okay, so the damage increases to D8s. Okay. It starts with a 2d8 and goes up a d8 at 5th level, 11th and 17th level. Okay, so max it out at 5d8 versus 5d6. Um Alright, that's cool. So a little damage boost. And then on top of that, you can use it now up to, well, I guess it would be up to 5 times at level 20 when your proficiency bonus becomes 5. So yeah, that makes you a little cool. I'm wondering, why didn't they just go the route of just giving it a recharge? Um, just letting them only use it once, and then in combat you have to roll your d6, and on a 6 you recharge it, or 5 or 6. You can even do it as a 6 since they're just maybe smaller dragons and they don't recharge it as often. But yeah, you could totally just do. I think a recharge would work just as well as this. Alright, Draconic resistance. Duh, you're resistant to whatever damage type you are, and then chromatic warding. So this is completely new. And it's just basically just, yeah, it's just giving it on top. Like, it's not even replacing anything. It's completely brand new. Alright. They don't say anything about alignment here, which is actually also curious. It's like it seems like they're almost going away from the idea of alignment. No mention of evil or dead, like, as a chromatic. Like, there's the word evil doesn't even show up here. Alright, so chromatic warding, 3rd level. As an action, you can channel your draconic energies to protect yourself. For 10 minutes, you become immune to any damage associated with your chromatic ancestry. Once you use this trait, you can't do so until you finish long rests. Oh, so like for 10 minutes a day, you can become completely immune to your damage type. That's fine. So that kind of makes it so like if you fight a dragon of the same color as you, you're good to go. That seems a little bizarre. Because like like just imagine you're a dragonborn from like, I don't know, maybe they organize themselves by colors and tribes, and it's like an all green dragon born society. And it's like, well, you're level 3, so this isn't something that everybody would be able to do, I guess. Like, probably only the most powerful among the dragonborn. Because you gotta remember, in Dungeons and Dragons, most people are level 0. Like, their commoners are basically level 0. And they're not even level 1. So, a commoner dragonborn would just be, like, a dragonborn with the commoner stats. And then you could probably paste this breath weapon into it, but they would not have chromatic warding, so that would just probably be reserved for the adventurers or people who have like some abilities beyond just a normal dragonborn. So that's cool. Nothing broken here. The breath weapon makes it feel like a breath weapon. And I would probably, since this is out now, if anybody was running a Dragonborn in any of my games, I would just, right now, just let them go, hey, if you want to swap out, basically it would just give them the new breath weapon and add the chromatic warding to their character sheet. Like, I wouldn't really necessarily have them change their ability scores or languages or anything like that. I'd be like, hey, do you want to use the chromatic Dragonborn traits? Go for it. So for metallic, other than it being, let's go through it. Other than it being, oh, okay, so the metallics get the cones and the chromatics get the lines. Is that how they did it on this? Is that how they did it here? No, they didn't. They had it kind of mixed together. And depending on the color was determining whether you had a cone or a line. So it's basically based on type before. Now it's based on chromatic versus metallic. I mean, there's no reason. Like, there's nothing. It doesn't make that much sense. That's like the one thing I don't like here. The damage type usually is what determined what shape the cone or what shape the attack breath weapon was. Now it's whether you're chromatic or metallic determines that. And it feels a little like metagamey. Because I'll be honest, I think a 15-foot cone is always more useful than a line. And I'll be honest, I think my player's like, hey, can I do a cone? I'd be like, yeah, you can do a cone. Just make it a cone. It's fine. Okay. Same damage, number trace, fine, metallic. Metallic breath weapon. Okay, so here we go. Now there is something differentiating. So you get chromatic warding as a chromatic, but for metallic you get this thing called a metallic breath weapon. Third level, gain a second breath weapon. Oh, that's cool. When you take the attack action, you can place one of your attacks with the exhalation of magical gas in a 15-foot cone. Okay. The save DC for this is 8 plus your count. Okay, when you use this, choose one. Each creature in the area must succeed on a strength saving throw or be pushed 20 feet away from you and knocked prone. Each creature in an area must succeed on a constitution saving throw or become incapacitated until the start of the next turn. Oh, okay. So it's like a utility breath that can either knock people back. First off, 20 feet knockback. That's probably the biggest knockback in the game right now. I don't. There are a ton of 5-foot knockbacks. There's a handful of 10-foot knockbacks or pulls. 20 feet is actually like. That's pretty powerful. I wouldn't be surprised if they reduce that later, because 20 feet, that's like you can, like, that's guaranteeing, like, if there's any ledge anywhere throwing any people off the edge, like, that can almost guarantee lots of damage if you knock people off the edge. I guess it's fine. All right, here's a new one. Gem Dragonborn. All right, so Alright, Gem Dragonborn. You have the following traits. Your humanoid medium, 30 feet walking is fine. You change your ancestry to a gem dragon, granting the special magical affinity. Choose the type of gem. Ooh, I like this. Force, Radiant, Psychic. Alright, Thunder's the little, like, stepchild out of this, and Necrotic. Wait, no, Thunder is different from Lightning. Okay, that makes sense then. Never mind. I always get those mixed up. Alright, so Breath Weapon, 15-foot cone. Same type. Yeah, and you can do it. Okay. So, freaking neat. So quick question though. Where, like, so I've seen gem dragons from MCDM stuff. Like, they have a bunch of gem dragons. Uh, have Wizards of the Coast ever actually released stat blocks for gem dragons? Um, like, do they have an amethyst dragon stat sheet? All right, here's a sapphire dragon, which is its own. Oh, it's an extra life thing. All right, that's cool. But a little bizarre. So, like, all right, so we'll talk about this in a minute. Like, I have some ideas about what this means, like, why they're releasing this UA and why they're testing it. Um, because it seems like to me we're probably getting either another monster manual. We're getting another book of monsters at some point, and in there we're gonna have gem dragons. Like they're gonna have gem dragons in there, which is cool. It's fine, and and then hopefully we'll get a lot more than just dragons, or there might be an adventure coming out later this year that has that's about these gem dragons, and it's going to be kind of like maybe not like a sequel to the what's it called, the Horde of the Dragon Queen and Rise of Tiamat. Like we could see them going back to the well as far as like doing a dragon adventure, because we had that one at the beginning. People really love or hate that book. I'm not a huge fan of Horde of the Dragon Queen, even though it was my first big campaign I ran. I have very linear, lots of complaints with it. If I was going to run it now, I would want to do a lot of homebrew to kind of open it up and make it a little bit more like, try to figure out like, give them more options. Like when I write my own homebrew stuff, I always kind of stick with the rules of 3. Oh, thanks, Valor. Yeah, I'm gonna probably. I downloaded a bunch more of the UA. Maybe today I might actually go back and do a little bit more. But yeah, I definitely want to do more of this. Maybe even just reviewing other homebrew PDFs and things that I find might be neat. But yeah, they're definitely coming out with some sort of either an adventure or a new book that has something to do with gem dragons. My hope is, instead of it just being another monster book, I kind of do hope it's an adventure about dragons that's kind of like Horde of the Dragon Queen, but like a new one, like with what they've learned about how to create adventures in 5th edition. It would be really cool. So, all right, let's finish talking about this gem dragonborn. This I might not let my players switch to right away if because like the gem dragonborns don't really exist yet, really, outside of this UA. So if they really wanted to, we could probably do it. Psionic Mind. You can telepathically speak to any creature you can see within 30 feet of you. You just straight up get telepathy. Okay. Alright, this is a little powerful. This just solves every single language barrier in the game if you just pick a gem dragonborn. You can just talk to anybody telepathically within 30 feet of you. Oh, but they can't respond. Okay, you can talk at anybody. You can't hear what they say. And then gem flight. You can summon an array of spectral gems that match your ancestry in the shape of wings that last for a minute. This is just like, what's it called? ASMR. You get a flying speed equal to your walking speed and can hover. Can't do so again until you finish long rest. I mean, yeah, that's basically ASMR flight. I'm not afraid of flying, like in my games. I know there's a lot of dungeon masters out there who think that like a level 1 flyer is a problem. If you're a DM and you're at session 0 and one of your players is like, I want wings and I want to fly, and you say no because you don't want to like work around that, like you're just, I'm not gonna say you're a bad DM, but you need to like revisit that because your player wants to fly because like it's cool, just like being able to fly, and the game has it, and Wizards of the Coast seems it's okay to give flying at level 1 under like with certain characters. So the way I handle flying, just make sure that your encounters for combat have ranged attacks. Period. If you start an encounter where there's no ranged attacks, like everything's just melee, give them crossbows, give them something, because that'll solve that. Then also, if you have puzzles that are just solved by flying, I've always kind of, I never agreed with that argument either, because here's the thing. Sure, one person can fly, so they might be able to fly across one gap, but usually puzzles that require like large gaps to go over, the whole party needs to get over the other side. And I would never just be like, oh yeah, then you pick him up and carry him across. You pick him up and you carry him across. I would imagine that a human like me, if I grew wings and started flying, I would be able to just easily pick one other person up and be able to still keep flight. Like that would definitely be an athletics check of some kind. That risks dropping. Like, and I would make sure that that's very like. There's other ways to make those types of gap puzzles like hard, or a problem that needs to be solved that isn't immediately negated by a flyer. Now there are probably puzzles out there that are written in adventures that are just completely solved with flying, but that's no different than puzzles that are solved with certain spells or certain other types of abilities that just solve. Like it's just one of the many things that can happen. And again, you're the DM. Read ahead, plan for it, know that you have a flyer, fix it. Like you can fix it. There's things you can swap out the puzzle with a completely different puzzle. Add a little tweak on it so that flying doesn't necessarily always solve it. You can do lots of stuff like that. All right, let's see what these new kobolds are all about. I mean, is this like the third time they've tackled kobolds? I swear. Like, all right, humanoid, duh, small, duh, 30 feet. Interesting. I think most small creatures have 25 feet walking speed, so kobolds are little speedy boys, I guess. Honestly, they should just get rid of speeds. I like dwarves being 25, gnomes being 25, and halflings being 25. Just give them 30. It's just silly at this point. Just make it like they're like if you want to make things simple with the Coast, just start doing that. There's no reason to differentiate. That's just the holdover from old D&D stuff. Dark vision, duh. Draconic. So they got rid of the sunlight sensitivity, right? I think most DMs who actually like their players either gave them a magic item that solves this problem, or didn't really enforce it that strictly because it's lame. Like I want to be a kobold, but now I can't be out in the daylight. That really restricts when you can play as a kobold. I understand flavor, and that's not how kobolds work, and all this stuff. And I'm like, well, if you take it away from kobolds, if you take it away from kobold players, take it away from your kobold creatures as well. Don't let them have sunlight sensitivity. Let them walk around during the day. Done. Now in your world, kobolds don't have sensitive eyes. It's fine. Kobold connection dragons can manifest in unpredictable ways in an individual kobold. Choose one of your following legacy options when you select this race. Alright, so you choose one of these. You can have advantage on saving throws to avoid or end the frightened condition on yourself. Alright, so kobolds can just be like, I'm not scared. That's actually kind of cute, the idea that a kobold can, like, resolve his or her fears. Like, just like, Urgh. A cantrip from a sorcerer's spell list. You can use intelligence, wisdom, or charisma as your spellcasting ability for that cantrip. Alright, so this just gives you an extra cantrip. Ooh, and that's also kind of cool if you're like a paladin or a ranger. You can just give yourself a neat little cantrip. You can thwack things with your tail for 1d6 plus your strength modifier and bludgeoning damage, instead of for a normal unarmed strike. That's powerful. Huh. I don't think anything else changes it to... It does a 1d6. Let's go back to D&D Beyond here. So if we go to... I wanted to check out... Tieflings don't get it. Alright, claws. Let's check out claws for Leonin. And then I wanted to check out... I think it's basically claws for Tabaxi. Cat's claws for Tabaxi. Alright, so claws is, yeah, like I thought, D4 plus strength modifier. And tabaxi, I think, is also D4 plus your strength modifier. So making it a D6 plus strength modifier of bludgeoning, that should probably just be a D4 if they want to keep it consistent. Because, yeah, like, why is a kobold's little tail hitting harder than lions or cat claws? That just seems bizarre. Yeah, that's going to get changed to a D4, I think, as it goes through testing and as they think more about this. This is test material after all. Draconic Roar, as a bonus action, you let out Draconic Roar at your enemies within 10 feet of you. Till the end of your next turn, you and your allies have advantage on attack rolls against any of the enemies who could hear the roar. Okay, that's bizarre. You can use this trait another equal times your proficiency or gain all. Alright, so this is the dragon roar, except it's a kobold who just lets out. Alright. This is, like, I don't know if I like any of this in the kobold. Like, I don't, like, this is changing the way kobolds work in my mind, and it makes no sense compared if you look to the kobold stat block. So, because the kobold stat block doesn't have any sort of roar. The kobold stat block, they're not necessarily brave. They don't know cantrips. They're not really magical. And they don't have this tail strike. So, again, unless we're going to get a monster manual that maybe just is like, hey, here's new kobolds, and this maybe then matches what the new kobolds do, that would make sense. Like, we might be missing some information here. But based on what we currently know about kobolds, this doesn't match what kobolds can do at all. This is something new. These are new kobolds. Also, I always thought the idea of just kind of doing like I'm like a chromatic kobold, a metallic kobold, and then now even like a gem kobold. Like, I feel like that could be interesting, and I always thought that, like, because they always talked about like kobold, the colors of kobolds kind of sometimes matched whatever dragon that they're worshiping or whatever they're like, because kobolds can be different colors and not always just the red that you see in the artwork. Um, I've seen them described as, and mostly it's the chromatic types. But the idea that you could have like lawful good golden kobolds, that'd be cool. Like, you like, it's just a society of like loving, kind kobolds that might just like worship dragons a little too much and maybe like gold a little too much. Oh, that would be really neat. Like a trading society of metallic kobolds who like they like to trade and they like to do lots of like they're like a merchant race. That'd be neat. And then Gem Dragonborn. So again, since they've kind of gone away from this whole like talking about alignment in here, like there's no mention of any alignment here. I don't know where Gem Dragonborn would sit on this alignment. So they claim to be the heirs of the ruby dragon Sardior, the firstborn of all creation, made by Bahamut and Tiamat in the first days of the first world. Okay. Are they neutral? Like, maybe these are the neutral dragons. So like we got good dragon, good metallic dragons, evil chromatic dragons, and then neutral gem dragons. That'd be neat. As far as that, but like I said, we might not even get an answer to that because they're kind of seemingly going away from this idea that, and it is a problematic idea, this idea that certain races or certain types of creatures are inherently evil or inherently good. Like, I'm fine with that. If that's gonna be their stance, like, maybe alignment just becomes a flavor text sort of thing. Alright, let's move on to these feats, I suppose. So, the gift of the chromatic dragon. So is this something anybody can get? Okay, yeah, these are anybody can take these. It's not just for these races. They're not racial. Which is another thing I think they've gone away from. I don't think I've seen any new racial feats since they had them in what was that, Xanathar's Guide? I think they've not done any racial stuff since then. Like, which is fine. Racial, like, it makes everybody. All right, so as a bonus action, you can touch a weapon and infuse it with one of the following damage types: acid, cold, fire, lightning, poison. The next minute deals an extra D4 damage. After you do this, you can't change the long rest. When you take ice, whatever, you can use a reaction to yourself resistance. This reaction number times your proficiency. All right, so that's kind of cool. But like the idea that you can kind of just change it at will, like every single time you do it. I mean, that's fine, I suppose. Part of me feels like when you take this gift as a feat, you got to pick a type and then stick with it. That might be a little bit more interesting for me, but then that might be a little bit too weak for a feat. Maybe then you boost the damage there, and maybe instead of resistance for one instance, you can get it for like a minute. I don't know. It's fine as it is. It seems balanced. It doesn't seem very powerful. An extra D4 of damage is essentially adding 2 damage to your attack, and you can only do it once per long rest, and it lasts. How long does it last? For a minute. So, meh. Like, so if you think about it, that's 20 extra damage over the course of a long fight. That's no, this isn't really that great. Not not really like in love with it. All right, so you learn the Cure Wounds spell. You can cast it with a Gift of the Metallic Dragon. Once you cast it, you can't do so until you finish a long rest. You can also cast this spell using spell slots you have. Oh, that's kind of neat. It's a way to give like a wizard or a sorcerer or a warlock the Cure Wounds spell. I don't know if you need that. My campaign, one of my players has the healer feat. If you want to take a feat that gives you the ability to heal things, healer feat's pretty much a great way to go. You can manifest protective wings that shield you and or others from attacks. When you're a creature you can see within 5 feet of you is hit by an attack, you can use your reaction to manifest spectral wings from your back for a moment. Roll a d4 and grant the bonus to the target's AC, potentially causing it to miss. You can use the reaction for... That's a neat one. I like that. This has a lot of good flavor. You get to cure wounds once per long rest. And then as many times you have proficiency, you can either increase your AC or increase someone next to you's AC by rolling a d4. That gives you like imagine I would feel like a paladin of Bahamut, like with this gift would be really neat, and not even necessarily a dragonborn. It could just be a human or an elf or whatever, and they have the gift of the metallic dragon that lets them protect better. That'd be neat. Gift of the gem dragon boosts your intelligence, wisdom, and charisma by 1. When you take damage from a creature that is within 10 feet of you, you can use your reaction to emanate a telekinetic energy. Creature must make a strength saving throw or take 2d8 force damage and be pushed 10 feet away from you. You can use this reaction one more time to go proficiency bonus. Okay, so this is like the I'm sorry, I lost it though. Alright, so okay, so for some reason I was thinking this had, but no, these guys have this weird knockback breath, and that's the metallic. I mean, I guess that's fine. 10 feet's not too bad. So if they make their save, they don't take any damage and they're not pushed away from you. So it's like it's definitely like a... Also, I like this. More reactions. I love reactions. I don't think there's enough. I think almost like every class should have their own reaction, special flavored reaction, and not every class gets that, or not every subclass gets that. Reactions tend to just be attacks of opportunity, and that's it. Unless you have a spell that is cast at a reaction, and again, I don't think there's enough spells that are cast as reactions. Ooh, we got a bunch of spells here. I did not know that there was a bunch of spells. All right, well, let's, I guess, start going through it. All right, so Draconic Transformation with a roar. All right, so it's a bonus action. Nice, you can do it and then still attack. Concentration up to a minute. Love concentration. I know people have problems with it, but I think it's a really good way to balance powerful abilities. Like, hey, you can do this really powerful thing, but you have to concentrate on it, and if you get hit, you might lose it. All right, so you get Blind's Fight within a range of 30 feet. That's awesome. You can effectively see anything that isn't behind total cover, even if you're blinded or in darkness. Moreover, you can see invisible creatures unless that creature successfully hides from you. Okay. So I guess like if the invisible creature takes the hide action, rolls a stealth check higher than your passive perception, you lose track of them. They are just so quiet that even your blind sight. They don't really explain what blind sight is in D&D, like flavor-wise. It's not necessarily echolocation all the time, but like I know sometimes they give it to, like creatures to kind of simulate it. You get incorporeal wings. It give you fly speed of 40. Sweet. When you cast a spell as a bonus action on subsequent turns, you can exhale a breath. 30-foot cone. Ooh, big breath. 3d8 force damage. Alright, that's not bad. As a bonus action, that's what's really cool about this is... Yeah, that's really powerful. But it is a 7th level spell. I'd have to look at some other 7th level spells to see how good that is damage-wise. You gotta think combat lasts between 3 and 5 rounds. So if you're taking a bonus action with 3d8, and then you can cast that for 3 and 5 rounds, that's a lot of extra damage that this spell's doing. That's how you can compare it to like some other 7th level spells. So that means that would be between 9d8 and 15d8 force damage. That seems very high, but like I said, I'd have to look at the 7th level spells to kind of compare it to. Can't do that off the top of my head. Alright, Fizbin, whoever that is, Platinum Shield. 1 action, concentration, 500 gold, a platinum dragon scale. Statue out of it. So, like, I like that they're adding these also. On top of knowing the spell, you need to have these components. Like a platinum plated dragon scale. So platinum plated. I was also just talking to my wife about this. I was just like, why don't we have platinum, mithril, and adamantine dragons? I kind of thought that those types of metallic dragons would be very interesting to think about and what they do. So like this platinum, so this isn't necessarily a platinum dragon scale, this is a platinum plated dragon scale, so it's probably any dragon scale that then is plated with platinum. It's fine. And then a statue out of a dragon worth 500 gold. Like, you'd have to go shopping. Or maybe get one crafted for you. You create a field of silvery light that surrounds you or surrounds a creature of your choice, including yourself. Sheds dim light 5 feet. Alright, you're a little glowy boy. As a bonus action, on the subsequent turns, you can move the field to another creature within 60 feet. Okay. The creature protected by the field gain the following benefits. Half cover. Neat. That's a +3 to your AC. I believe it's either +2, +3. Damn it. Now my brains. Cover. See, I'm just proving that you don't need to memorize all the rules to run +2 to run Dungeons and Dragons. +5 is 3/4. Okay, so +2. There's no such thing as +2. They have resistance to acid, cold, fire, lightning, and poison damage. The creature subjected to effect that allows the dexterity saving throw to only take half damage, aka dragon breaths. The creature instead takes no damage if it succeeds, and only half damage if it fails. Wait, that's crazy though, because wow, this is just like poof, I'm good at fighting dragons. Glad it only works on one person and there's no casted on like the whole party, cause you go ahead and fight a red dragon, pop this on yourself. Now you're rolling dex saves to just reduce, and if you fail, you reduce it by half, and then you're also resistant to fire damage, which then further reduces it by half. You're basically immune to dragon breaths. Dragon breaths become minor, tiny inconveniences to you, versus this is really powerful. It is a 6th level spell. But like I feel like if you're for 6th level spells, you're what, level like 13, 14 is like when you're around the time you're taking 6th level spells. So that means you're gonna be starting to fight. Your adult dragons would be like the typical dragon you'd fight, and then at that level you'd probably also be taking you'd be starting to fight the ancient dragons. This sort of I mean, you take the spell if you know you're going to be fighting dragons. And again, all of this is screaming to me. Now with these spells, this isn't a monster manual with new dragons in it. This is an adventure with new dragons in it and new spells to help you fight these dragons. We're going to see like a huge dragon adventure announced in the next couple of months. Yeah, that's what this is kind of pointing me. Also, you got all these new named spells, like Fizban's Platinum Shield and Nether's Mischief and Rothalim's Psychic Lance and Icing Death's Frost. These sound like dragons names. These like I mean I could do a quick Google. Let's see if we can find out who Fizban is. Fizban. Fizban oh. Okay, well now this is actually... Alright, Fizban is from Dragonlance. Nether. Merlin. Oh, Forgotten Realms. Alright, was the god of pseudo-dragons. Ooh, pseudo-dragons. Icing Death. I wonder what kind of dragon he is. Oh, Icing... Wait, what? Dristorden's Scimitar? How does it know? Like, why is there a spell named after Drist's weapon? So, a burst of energy cold emanates from you in a 30-foot cone. Each creature in the area must make a con save. On a failed save, the creature takes 3d cold. When it's covered in ice. Creature covered in ice has its speed reduced to 0. Ah, here we go. Here's the real icing. What is that? Angeloa Costamazillion. Angeloa Costamazillion. Okay. Wow, they don't even have like a pronunciation here for that. But it's a white dragon. Okay. This makes more sense than Drist's Blade. So Drist's Blade is also just named after this dragon. Oh, and Drist killed him. Okay, so maybe then he named the blade out of it after him. Kind of embarrassing. Oh, okay, so this is like obviously his name, and then Icing Death was his nickname that they then just named after a blade that he found in the dragon horde. Right. But okay, so again, dragon name, dragon god name, Dragon Lance. What was his name? Fizbin. So was he a dragon? Fizbin the Fabulous. It's a mage. Okay, so he's just a wizard, another wizard, but from the what's it called? Dragonlance world. So I wouldn't necessarily say that that adventure I'm talking about is going to be. Oh, have they said that they're gonna do Dragonlance setting book? I don't know. All right. I mean that would then if it okay, well that's a third possibility. If we're getting a Dragonlance setting book, maybe all of this stuff is inside of that setting. That actually I think might be the reality. We're gonna get Dragonlance setting. And we're gonna have all these neat things about it. And that's why kobolds act different, because they're gonna be like, okay, these are how Dragonlance kobolds. I mean, yeah, so, I mean, this isn't showing any, here's some homebrew. Yeah, I guess there hasn't been anything announced. It would probably be here. But this is now, that's actually moved to my number one possibility slot. Instead of us getting an adventure that's set with dragons, we're probably getting the Dragonlance setting. Because this would all fit inside that book easily. Especially, yeah. Well, let's see who Rothlin is. Oh, it's an emerald dragon in Forgotten Realms, so he's not necessarily Dragonlance. Alright, well let's go through this. Okay, so Ice and Death did that thing of freeze people, does extra damage as you spell it, higher spell. Nathira's Mischief, so Pseudo dragons are notorious for doing mischief. They have a constant. This is a concentration up to a minute. You can fill a 20-foot cube centered on a point that you choose. Within range with Fey and Draconic magic. You roll the mischievous surge table to determine the magical effect produced. At the start of each of your turns, you can move the cube. Okay. Smell of apple pies fill the air, and each creature in the cube must succeed a wisdom saving throw to be charmed by you until the start of your turn. Bouquets of flower appear all around, and each creature in the cube must succeed a dex save or be blinded. Blinded by the flowers. Is the flowers... Wait. The flowers spray water in their faces? That's not something flowers do. Oh. Okay, but I get it. It's that whole gag with the, like, clowns with the flower and be like, hey, sniff my flower. Pfft, water. Like, that's silly. That's dumb. It's fine. A creature in the cube must succeed a wisdom saving throw or start giggling. Their capacity to move all their movements. So it's like Tasha City's laughter style. Laughter. Drops of molasses appear and hover in the cube, turning it into difficult terrain. That's bizarre, too. Sticky molasses. Flavored as maple syrup, and then... Now that's fun. Alright, let's see what Rothlim's Psychic Lance. So Rothlim is a gem dragon. Amethyst, did it say? Emerald. Emerald dragon. Alright, so you get a lance of psychic power from your forehead at a creature you can see within range. Alternatively, you can utter the creature's name. Okay. If the name target is within range, it gains no benefit from cover or invisibility as the lance homes in on it. If the target is named... Oh, okay, so if you can't see them, you can name them. And then this will still hit. Oh, wow, this is neat, too. If the name target isn't within range, voice just dissipates and you don't expend the spell slot. So if somebody's hiding behind cover, you know their name, and you yell it out and cast the spell, and they're not within 30 feet, it doesn't work, and you don't... That's neat. Okay. They make an intelligence saving throw or take 10d6 psychic damage, and increases by a d6 for every slot above the 4th level. Okay. Summon Draconic Spirit. 5th level spell, concentration of up to an hour. And an Art Dragon from a Dragon's Horde worth at least 500 gold. Alright, so you call forth the Draconic Spirits. It manifests in blah blah blah. Okay, it's stat block. We'll go over that in a second. You get to choose a family, chromatic, gem, or metallic. They resemble them. Disappears when it drops to 0. It's your ally. Shares your initiative count. It takes its turn immediately after yours. Oh, they really need to go through and like make that consistent. And I think they have. I think everything that's come out in the last few UAs and books of companions always act immediately following your turn. I think that's very fair and makes combat easier to run creatures. Like, I think they need to rework maybe the conjure animals and other, like, summonable spells that they should just, and maybe you could even just homebrew those and be like, okay, they act after your turn. I'm pretty lenient, though. I'm pretty sure I go, yeah, they can act either before or after your turn. Sometimes I'm like, or you could just take it during. I missed a spell. Don't lie to me. No, I didn't. Where did I miss the spell? The Flame Stride. Thanks, Valera. You got my back. Flame Stride. Concentration. Up to a minute. Oh, well, let's finish talking about this Draconic Spirit, and we'll go back to Flame Stride. And then we'll go to the Illrigger, which is probably going to be the rest of this stream, because it's like a 12-page PDF about a class. It looks kind of complicated. Alright, so higher level spells. Use the higher level wherever the spell's level appears in the stat block. Okay, so that buffs it. Alright, Draconic Spirit. 14 plus the spell level. Okay, so at 5th level, 19 armor class just straight out the gate. That seems high. Okay. 50 plus 10 for each spell above the 5th. So that means it starts at 50. But 19... That means, like, if you cast this at level 9, which would be the max you could cast it, we're talking a 23 AC on this little... Oh, he's a large dragon. He's okay. Okay, this makes this cool. You're summoning big boy dragon. 30-foot speed on the ground, 80-foot flying, swim 30-foot. Resistances... So, okay, so if you pick a chromatic, here's the chromatic and metallic resistances. Here's the gem resistances. So if you pick between those three, because it tells you have to pick that when you start. Condition immunities, blind sight, dark vision, passive perception, all traditional dragon stuff. Draconic and whatever language you know. It doesn't have a challenge rating. Proficiency bonus is equal to your proficiency bonus. When you summon the dragon, choose one of its damage resistances. You have resistance. Okay, so you can give yourself one of these resistances depending on which type of dragon you summon. The dragon has a multi-attack, which means he can use his breath, and bite and claw equal to half the spell's level rounded down. Okay, so at the normal 5th level, that means you're going to be making 2 bite, either a bite and a claw attack, or 2... Oh, bite and claw is 1 attack. Okay, so you could just do this twice and do breath weapon. So that's 1d6 plus 4 plus the spell level. So plus 5. 5, 9. Well, that's powerful. That's just straight up 9 plus 1. 1d6 plus 9. That's really... I don't know if they need to kind of tweak that, I think, because that seems powerful. Because that's to mean 9 plus 9... That's a lot of damage. I mean, it's a 5th level spell, but these Draconic Spirits, I think, are pretty powerful. And then, of course, you get a 30-foot cone with 2d6 of your damage choice of choice of damage. And I'm guessing it's these types of damage here. So if you're chromatic, alright, so this Draconic Spirit, I can tell you right now, is going to be completely reworked as far as how the wording goes, because it's a little confusing, it's very complicated, it's not very, like, friendly, because you're adding the spell level to a lot of random different things. And then plus, I think that this right here, the spell's level and piercing damage, seems powerful. Honestly, just get rid of the +4. Just get rid of the +4. It's done. I think that would be fine. 1d6 plus the spell level, so 1d6 plus 5 would be great. And then up to 1d6 plus 9 if cast at 9th level. I think that would be... I don't know why this +4 is here. It seems arbitrary. I guess it's the strength bonus here. Yeah, I don't know. Flat damage increases means there's no dice being rolled. If there's no dice being rolled, it means basically it's guaranteed damage. And right now you're getting this weird snowball effect because the spell level determines not only how hard this hits, but how many times you can cast it. So casting it at 5th level, you get to attack twice, which is 18, which is 2d6 plus 18 damage. You bump it up to 6th level, it's then becomes immediately becomes 3d6 plus 18. Wait, I'm mathing out here. Plus, so it's gonna be 6 plus 10. Oh, so that would be 3d6 plus 30 damage. That is a huge jump in damage from just bumping it up to 6th level. And that's not even talking about its breath weapon, which doesn't seem to scale. For level. So what I think I would do, get rid of the spell level piercing damage for bite and claw. Just do 1d6 plus 4. Let's scale the breath weapon of the Draconic Spirit instead. So have it be 2d6 plus... Oh, I'm being raided by Gabi. Hello, everyone. I don't know how much overlap we have with Dungeons and Dragons, but thanks for coming. Thanks for the goblin raid. Oh, God. Oh, God. Goblins everywhere. Batten down the hatches. Somebody start casting fireball. We gotta get rid of all these goblins. Welcome to my Dungeons and Dragons stream. We're talking about the new Unearthed Arcana Draconic options, if that means anything to you guys. Yeah, shrunken heads coming our way. Jesus. She finished painting her goblin head, or is she only like halfway through? We're gonna have to see it next time. Woo! Yeah, welcome to the stream. Today I just talk about Dungeons and Dragons stuff. We have another stream that happens on Tuesdays where we actually play Dungeons and Dragons. If anything interests you, go ahead and throw me a follow, and you can catch me on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and then actually I'll be playing Baldur's Gate video game this weekend, Saturday at 8 p.m. So if any of that sounds great to you, give me that follow. Otherwise, enjoy. I hope I don't bore you too much if you're not into D&D. But we're going to finish up talking about this and move on to the Illrigger class in a moment. But before I was raided by goblins, Jesus, they're everywhere. We were talking about this breath weapon here on this Draconic Spirit and how I think it's not scaled properly. But I think they're going to rework this. This is definitely something that needs to be reworked or maybe a little tweaked a little bit. It's a good start. It's a good first draft. It's very cool. The idea at 5th level spell that you can just summon basically what seems to be like it would be a young dragon. Like you're basically summoning a young dragon to your side to fight with you. is really fucking awesome. And then I skipped a spell, apparently, so thanks for reminding me, Valerai. So we have there's a spell called Flame Stride, 3rd level spell, costs a bonus action, concentrate up to a minute. So you get to be a speedy boy by casting fire on your feet. And for the duration, your speed's increased by 20, and you don't provoke opportunity attacks. When you move within 5 feet of creature, it just straight up takes 1d6 fire damage. That's pretty neat. No rolls or anything. And then as you cast it at a higher level, increases the speed and the damage for each level above 3rd. Okay, so you gotta always, like, you gotta test this by just going, okay, what happens if it's cast at 9th level? Like, just for fun. Yeah, it'd be really cool. On an Eldritch Knight, that would be really cool. Just like, boom, and now you're just speedy boy running around whacking things with your weapon, and every time you run up to something, they take damage. So, for each slot above 3rd, remember what I said about automatic damage. It's dangerous. This is really dangerous. So, 3rd level, casting at 9th level means you're getting 6d6 of fire damage just for walking up to a dude. Now, you could, like, 66 fire damage is a lot of fire damage. If you cast this at 9th level, I'd imagine you could just, like, run through a village, and the entire village would just burn down. Like, that's, like, in my head, that's how powerful that would be. You just kind of leave flame and fire behind you. Off the top of my head, that doesn't seem completely broken. So it only triggers when you move. So it's not like if anybody moves up to you, they get hit by your heat. All right, here's another thing. That's okay. They really need to work on this one too, because I just already broke it. So you're standing next to a dude, right? You don't provoke opportunity attacks, and you have 20 feet of extra movement. So at this level, you have 50 feet of movement. That means you could take 5 feet back, and take 5 feet step forward, and you can do that 5 times, doing 5d6 damage. Based on the wording right here, that's how that works. You could step 5 feet back, 5 feet forward, and do 1d6 every single time. And then if you cast it at higher levels, you're going to be going faster, which will give you more steps. And then also the damage is increased. So they need to fix that. This needs to be a little longer. They can't let you hit somebody more than once with this. Otherwise it's broken. I guess you could maybe force a save. Well, I know that's why it's Unearthed Arcana. And it's playtest material. But I just thought of that. Like, I didn't have to playtest that. That's just, like, they should have, okay. But I, like, yeah, that seems a little broken. So we discovered a couple broken things. We discovered a couple things that will probably be tweaked. This Summon Draconic Spirit is awesome. I don't think they should get rid of it. I just think they need to rework it a little bit, think about it a little harder, streamline it a little bit. This Flame Stride's broken as written, straight up broken. Nathir's Mischief's fine. Icing Death's fine. Platinum Shield is really cool. I think it's really powerful, but it is a 6th level spell, so I think it's okay. It's balanced. Like, something like that at like a lower level would make dragon fights kind of inconsequential. Draconic Transformation seems boring, I'll be honest. I would rather have Draconic Spirit is more fun and interesting to me than this. Overall, this UI is pretty cool. Yeah, I mean that seems good. I don't know what, like I said, this is kind of the first time me going like line by line through a UA. Usually I just glance over them, and then if my players pick it, I then read it a little more seriously, because I'm a DM. I'm not making characters, so character options, I'm not like super, I don't read a lot unless my player becomes one, and then I get familiar with it. Yeah, like League of Legends OP. Well, yeah, in the terms of Flame Stride, I don't think it's OP. I just think they didn't think it through. They didn't think like a player would. They I immediately, when you move within 5 feet of an object being, and there's no limitation on this, when you move within 5 feet, that means you can keep moving within 5 feet and breaking it. Like, that just, the word just needs to be, it could be either like, you could easily just tweak that, say, the first time you move within 5 feet of a creature, that is, they take 1d6. Done. Like, you just fixed it. Like, now you can't do the thing. The idea of being able to, like, run through, like, a group of, I don't know, like, let's say you get raided by goblins and you need to kill them all. You can pop this flame stride, run through a group of goblins, and take a bunch of them out, because goblins don't have a lot of HP. That seems really cool. Especially since you don't take attacks of opportunity. You just, like, right through the line of them. That'd be really great. So I think the idea that you could do a bunch of damage to a bunch of different creatures, that's fine. They just need to fix it so you can't just do a bunch of damage to one creature. All right, that's the UA. Let's move on to the Illrigger, which I know nothing about the Illrigger at all. And I belong to, I will say I do belong to the MCDM Patreon. I've gotten all of their everything the MCDM releases. I have. So, like, if I go to my PDFs back here, let's go back. So if I go to my MCDM folder, I haven't read through them. I have all of their Arcadias, and I have the Strongholds and Followers. I also actually have the Strongholds and Followers book. I am looking forward to their Kingdoms and Warfare, because I did look through the Kingdoms of Warfare, or the Warfare rules that are in the Strongholds and Followers book. They're alright. It uses percentage dice for resolutions, and I'm not a huge fan of percentage dice as far as, like, resolving things. So I'm hoping that they streamline those rules a little bit, and instead of it being percentage dice, they can kind of just make it, give it a d20 roll. It should just d20. This is D&D. Roll a d20. All right, so let's look at the Illrigger. First off, I will just say presentation art. MCDM has this art style that I really appreciate. It's just really evocative. Everything's, like, bizarre. Like, just looking at this guy right here. Like, he's doing some force choke or I don't know, that poor guy's forehead. He didn't deserve it. He probably did. Well, this guy's obviously, he's leading a... So this is the Illrigger, and he's leading a horde of demons. So that, like, right there shows this is not a good guy. This is not a good class. This is not for good people. This is if you want to be evil, which is great. And apparently, I did watch the video of Matt Colville talking about his Illrigger, and how he wants it. Like, he wrote it thinking, like, lawful evil. Like, that's the whole book is colored with the idea that you're going to be a lawful evil character. And I believe he said that he wrote in here... Oh, wow, that's lots of flavor text. Maybe this is what he was talking about. Also, the other thing he did mention that he wrote this book with the flavor text all being involved in his world. So this isn't Forgotten Realms. This is all in association with his universe and all of his things. So keep that in mind when we're going through it. The flavor text might be a little bizarre. But, oops, some more cool art. So I know there's these symbols that I believe that have something to do with some of his abilities, but the Illrigger. The archdevils who rule the 7 cities of hell scheme and plot endlessly, eternally. Each seeks to bring the others to heel, to descend to the throne of hell, unite the 7 cities, and every infernal thing that lives there, and lead an infinite army of devils across the timescape until all worlds burn. Now that's great. They're elite shock troops, the terror commanders of hell, the Illriggers. Knights of hell, they are charismatic counter-paladins who master devils, disrupt enemy organizations, and command the hells of armies. So, in the video, Matt described them as basically... So people were saying, like, well, why didn't you just make this, like, a paladin subclass? And his thoughts on that were... He didn't want, like... And he said that... He was saying the people that asked him that are people who didn't read the Illrigger rules, so we're going to go through it. But basically what he says is right there, counter paladins. They're not paladins. They're the mirror image of a paladin. So we'll see what that means when we go through it. But I'm not going to read this word for word. Let's just let's hit the class features. Let's keep this mechanical. You can read his flavor text and all that stuff yourself if you go to his Patreon. I believe it's only like I think it's the $5 tier will get you the Illrigger. You could also buy it on his website for $6.66, which is funny to me. He said he wanted to price it higher, but he couldn't resist the urge of pricing it at $6.66, so it's $6.66. That's just great. Okay, so 1d10 hit dice for Illrigger level. So it's a d10 hit dice, not bad, same as a fighter, same as paladin. 10 plus your con modifier, and hit dice at higher levels. It's just your standard hit dice rules. I don't like his or 6 here. That's actually something he seems to have added. That's not standard. Mostly because there are alternative hit point rules. Myself, I don't use the average, which is what 6 is, because it's 5.5 rounded up. I use half the hit dice. So mine would be, if you're playing in my campaign, it'd be 1d10 or 5. So whatever, just a little thing. Light armor, medium armor, shields. Notice no heavy armor. Simpler martial weapons. No tools. You get con and charisma. That's paladin, right? That's the same as paladin. You can choose between arcana, athletics, deception, insight, intimidation, investigation, persuasion, and religion. Pretty typical. You start with a martial weapon or a shield, or 2 martial weapons. You start with a chain shirt or leather armor with longbow and 20 arrows. You can start with a priest's pack or a dungeoneer's pack. Interesting. Priest's pack. Holy symbol. Alright, so I mean, right off the bat, you can't think this is priest, because I don't even think in Dungeons and Dragons or in Forgotten Realms you would call somebody who worships fiends a priest. But thematically, all this means is you get the items that are in a priest's pack. And then again, holy symbol. It's not really going to be a holy symbol. It's going to be the opposite of a holy symbol. It's going to be like I don't even know what that would be called. But it would be a symbol to the devils, not to anything holy. Multiclassing. To multiclass into Illrigger, you must have a 13 charisma and either strength of 13 or dexterity of 13. Okay, basic. Forked tongue. You know how to manipulate an audience. Whenever you make an ability to persuade, deceive, or intimidate, you can treat a d20 roll of 7 or lower as an 8. Additionally, you know the infernal language. That's powerful. That's really powerful. So let's say you take persuasion. Is that that's an ability you can take, right? Yeah, persuasion, intimidation, and deception. You can take any of those, or 2 of them, I believe, right? Yeah. Which means you're going to be at level 1, you're going to be at least let's just take standard +3 for a 15 charisma, +2 for level 1 proficiency. That's a +5. With as low as an 8 plus 5 is a 13. You can never roll lower than a 13 persuasion. You can only roll higher. That's powerful. That's really... You want to be a face? This is probably I would say that this would be one of the most powerful face characters you could be. This would be... yeah. That's powerful. I don't know if that's good. I don't know if that would be something that I would be frustrated with as a DM dealing with, because it'd be like, oh, roll a persuasion check. And at higher levels where he's got a +8, +9 persuasion, we're talking about a just natural 16. That means he's making hard persuasion checks, guaranteed every single time. It's pretty powerful. But cool. If you were that could be something that's just what your guy does. He just is he walks into a room and people just want to do what he says. All right. Infernal Conduit. You get a pool of infernal power, and it replenishes after you take a long rest. Okay, this is what he was talking about before. You get and it's represented by dice. You get 1d10 at first level, and then it seems to go up based on this chart. It's half your level, rounded down. Or rounded up. Yeah, it's half your level rounded up. So yeah, so fourth level. Yeah, okay, so that's basically it. Um yeah, so that's how this works. So it's really interesting. You can use it to heal others by taking health from you and giving it to them by rolling a d10. So you roll a d10 and you take that damage, but then also you give it to somebody. So that's really dramatic for like when somebody goes down, you can just run up and basically it's kind of like a lay on hands, but you're pulling from your health pool to give it. Interesting. But then also as an action, you can choose a number of dice from your remaining pool and touch another creature. If they are unwilling, you make a melee spell attack with which you're proficient using your charisma spellcasting ability. If you miss, nothing happens. Do not roll or lose dice from the pool. If you hit, though, or if you're targeting a willing creature, you roll the dice, and then the opposite happens. You take health and life from them. And you ignore any hit points in excess of your maximum. Oh, that's just how it works either way. Okay. Can you unwillingly heal somebody with this? That'd be weird. That'd be weird. I'd allow it to happen. Like if maybe somebody's like, well, if they're unconscious, they can't do anything about it. But you could. I like this. You could actually sacrifice yourself too. You can knock yourself down to 0. That's dramatic too. That's really cool. Like you could just be like, you must finish this fight. Go on without me, and just slap somebody, and then that could be unwilling. Now that's dramatic. Now that means like if like, oh no, don't do that. No, you can try to avoid it. They have to actually make a spell touch attack to give you their life. That's actually cool. That would be a very dramatic moment. That would be cool. 11th level. Oh, you can inflict exhaustion. Oh, up to a maximum of 3. Let's pop up the exhaustion rolls because I can't. Again, I'm a terrible DM. I don't memorize these things. Alright. Alright, so this goes all the way to disadvantage of attack rolls and saving throws. And so you can. So the first time you do this and hit them with it, you can give them disadvantage on ability checks. That during combat, that rarely comes up. So it's not that great to inflict. But you get them a second time with it, you have their speed, and that could be very crucial. And then you get them a third time, you're really messing with them. So like in a long boss fight, you can kind of spend a lot of effort trying to exhaust them to kind of give the rest of the party an advantage. That seems very powerful. But 3 attacks, all 3 have to hit to get, like, seems balanced to me. Not a lot of things inflict exhaustion on things, so that's neat because that's kind of different. Alright, so fighting style. These are neat because they're new. None of these are fighting styles we've seen before. So treachery. What do we got here? When you attack an enemy who none of your allies are adjacent to, you gain a +3 bonus to damage rolls. That is incredibly powerful. The only way you normally get a +3 to damage rolls is like a +3 weapon. And now you're getting that at 2nd level. So that's crazy. So let's just take, yeah, like if you take a goblin, like in case you're swarmed by goblins. I'm just gonna keep using goblins as my enemy punching bag because it's hilarious that you guys are all here. So goblins have 7 HP. with a +3 bonus, and then like let's just add your proficiency of probably +3 or +4. You're killing a goblin without even rolling the dice, most likely. Because you roll a dice, it's gonna be a minimum of 1. You got a +3 and then a +3 because of this. If you solo it, you could just run up and just chop a goblin's head off and not even have to roll the dice. It just happens. Well, you gotta hit it, but once you hit it, you kill. That's cool. It seems very powerful. But it doesn't increase at all. It's just +3 damage rolls from level 1 all the way to level 20. So as you level, it becomes less and less powerful. I'm not a huge fan of things like that, but it is what it is. While you're not wearing any armor, your armor class equals to 10 plus your dex plus your charisma, and you can still use a shield and gain this benefit. So this is like your unarmored defense. This is basically unarmored defense, but using charisma. I would like to understand how you use charisma to create a shield to stop things from hitting you. But I guess the same thing could be said about wisdom when it comes to a monk's armor class. So it's fine. It is what it is. It's just a mechanic. Schemes. While you wield a melee weapon in one hand and no other weapons, you can use your reaction after... Again, reactions! I love reactions! Give me all the reactions! After an adjacent enemy attacks you, to move into any other unoccupied space within 5 feet of the attacking enemy. This movement does not provoke attacks of opportunity. That's neat. So like somebody goes to stab you, and let's say you get stabbed, you take that damage, but then you're like, oh no, well, I don't want to take more hits from the other guys that just surrounded, or that are... Yeah, and then you could just like step to the other side of that creature. That's kind of neat. That is neat. Very mobile. And then the last one is lies. When you attack with a two-handed weapon, you can use your charisma modifier instead of your strength modifier for both the attack and damage rolls. That's just neat. I mean, kind of breaks this whole idea of this multi-classing where you need charisma and strength or dexterity. Because with this, if you take the lies feat and use a two-handed weapon, you can just dump everything into charisma probably and be okay. As far as like your main stat goes. I'd say the most powerful ones here would be lies or treachery. Bravado is neat. Bravado's neat. Like if you do your you max out your dex and charisma, which you could do pretty easily, you could get yourself up to 20 AC with it. And then use a shield for 22, which is okay. Like 22 at level, that'd be like basic. Well, not level 20. You could probably get it before level 20, but and depending on how well you roll your stats, even before that. But that's fine. But it's fine what it is. I would say schemes is the weakest one. Being able to move 5 feet, or it's not moving 5 feet. You can actually move up to. It would be it would be up to 10 feet, but you have to make sure that you're adjacent to whatever enemy just attacked you. So it's not super powerful. Because like the way I'm thinking of it is if a creature runs up to you and stabs you, you moving after it stabs you won't stop another creature from just running up to you and stabbing you. So like it doesn't really do a whole lot. It's very situational. So schemes is definitely one I personally probably would never take. Treachery, I would have a hard time not taking treachery. But then like you get a +3 bonus damage rolls. Cool. Okay, but you have lies, which adds your charisma modifier, and as long as you have a 15 charisma or higher, you're getting that plus. You're getting the +3. Oh, but this is +3 on top of whatever your bonus is. So treachery might still be, depending on what you're going for, might still be the way to go for certain things. Alright, so here you go. Treachery with dual wielding. Does that +3 bonus damage rolls apply to both weapon attacks? because now I'm thinking if you run treachery with the dual wielding feat, that's pretty powerful. You're basically doubling that +3 bonus to +6, and that's powerful. Um, that's cool. All right, treachery. Treachery's now second place next to lies, with bravado being probably third place as far as if I would rank them. All right, baleful interdict. Let's move on. Got a lot to cover. There's 3 subclasses in addition, and then I think there's new spells. Oh look, and then he gives us some creatures to use in our games too as well. Is that a magic item? So again, this art. Oh my god, this art. We're gonna talk about that when we get to it. Okay, when you reach second level, you can use a power of hell to censure other creatures. As a bonus action, you can place a seal. Okay, so that's what I think these little symbols are. They're the seals. You can do this a number of times equal to your charisma modifier. When you finish a short or long rest, you can regain all your seals. When you or an ally hit a target you can see with any seals on it, you can consume the seal to make the attack deal an extra 2d6 necrotic damage to the target per seal consumed. Ooh, he's got a... This is not a reaction, it's free. Okay, so it's a bonus action to put a seal, and then it's free to trigger the seal. And it has to be triggered on a target that hits. Okay. So that's really neat, because he was saying, I believe in the video, Matt was comparing this to, what's it called? Smite, Paladin Smites. So, but instead of Paladin Smites basically activating whenever you hit something, this makes it so it activates when anybody hits something, but you have to kind of prep it by hitting of the bonus action. So basically you run up to something, bonus action, hit him with a seal, swing your weapon at him. If you miss, you still use the seal, and the seal's still on them. And then somebody else can run up and whack them, and if they hit, you can then trigger the seal and roll that 2d6 to do extra damage. That's really neat. So a creature with a seal on them is interdicted. Seals evaporate if not used, so they last a minute. Only the Illrigger who placed it knows that it's there, so it's kind of like an invisible thing. It'd be neat if not. I would be maybe a little bit more neat if other Illriggers can see the seals as well. Not just the ones that use it, but nobody who's not an Illrigger can't see it. It appears the Illrigger has a glowing glyph on the creature's forehead. Boop, boop. The creature. That's what. Okay, so that's what this is right here. This is the seal triggering after an attack. So my guess is what we're seeing is this guy ran up to him and maybe like uppercut him with his. He ran up to him, sealed him, whacked him with the mace, knocked him back, and while he's knocked back, now he's crushing the seal on his forehead, doing extra damage. Basically, this guy's fucked. Very dramatic. I love this artwork. It is very, like, you don't see this a lot. Like, the way I just described that is mechanically how it looks. Like, and you don't see that in a lot of the D&D artwork where you see the mechanics actually playing out. That's really cool. When you reach 10th level, your connection increases and you deal an extra 1d6, so it goes up to 3d6. Okay, and then they improve in other ways as well based on your diabolic contract below. Sweet. Alright, Health Sight. Your Master of Deception makes it easy to recognize the use of concealing sorcery. As an action, you can extend your awareness out from you, and until the next turn, you know the location of creatures within 60 feet of you, using magic to hide or disguise themselves. That's really cool. It's like a true sight, almost. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your charisma modifier. When you finish a long rest, you regain them. Sweet. Nothing can escape your gaze. This is, I'm trying to come up with a name. This is George from Accounting's Illrigger character, and that's his face. Guy just wants to play Dungeons and Dragons really bad with you. I'm glad that you let him. I'm making fun of the art a little bit, 'cause it's just like a default white middle-aged dude wearing armor
He doesn't look that powerful. Doesn't even look like an asshole. He kind of just looks like he's like, "Hey, I'm here. What do you want me to do?" It's fine. The armor is beautiful. Um, it's cool. All right, let's move on. Diabolic contracts. So this is the subclasses. When you reach third level, you can pick. You make a diabolical contract with an archdevil. Welcomes you into the Order of Desolation. The Order of Desolation. You gain the Invoke Authority ability and choose either Painkiller, Shadow Master, or the Architect of Ruin. That's cool. So those are the subclasses. Furthermore, you are a noble knight in the list of the Hell and will be accorded fine treatment and hospitality anywhere in Hell that you travel, even to cities ruled by enemy archdevils. More cosmopolitan cities in the timescape. Okay, like that's more flavor text. So the way you would see this is this wouldn't be Hell. That would obviously be the 9 Hells, not just Hell. Um, and then it would be really cool to roleplay this moment at third level. To have the Archdevil actually like appear in your game. Also, it would be cool to appear just in front of everybody, and everybody gets to witness you making this infernal contract, this diabolic contract with an Archdevil, and then having to explain yourself in character, be like, "Oh, yeah, about that. You know all that cool shit I can do. That's why." And I just finalized the contract, so now I get more cool stuff. I can do more. All right, invoke authority. Authority granted you by your archdevil, channeling baleful energy to fuel magical effects. Each invoke authority option provided by your archdevil explains how to use it. When you use your invoke authority, you choose which option to use. Once you use this feature, you must finish for a long rest. Okay, so it's just a thing. It's called invoke authority. Ability score improvements. Duh. Extra attack. Duh. Except you only get it at 5th level. You don't get another one at 15th. So that's interesting. You get do. Aura of Despair. Beginning at 14th level, you radiate a magical aura of evil. When a hostile creature within 15 feet of you makes an attack or saving throw, it must roll a d4 and subtract the number rolled from the result. Okay, so that's the Bane spell as an aura at 14th level. So, that's cool. That's pretty powerful. That's the, again, opposite of Paladin, because Paladin gives you a d4 bonus to your saving throws at a much lower level, but that makes sense because this is actually, I would say, a d4 for attacks or saving throws. That's powerful. Subtracted as an aura is really powerful. That's really cool. Summon Hell, all of it. You just bring all of it up. Beginning at the 15th level as an action, you can summon a bone. Alright. I'm hesitating here because Bone Devils. Not Boner Devils. That'd be awful. Let's go D&D Beyond. Alright, here's your Bone Devil here. So I'm gonna pull this up while I read this. Serve you for a bone devil to serve you for 1 minute. The devil appears in an unoccupied space within 30 feet. It is bound to you and must obey your commands to the best of its abilities. It acts on the same initiative that you act on. You may both act and move on the same turn you summon it. Okay. If you die or fall unconscious, the devil returns to hell. Once you use this feature, you must wait a week before you use it. Okay, that sort of balances it. Maybe. It's still really powerful. This is the first time I've read. Okay, this is why I like non-Wizards of the Coast stuff, because they can get a little weird. This is cool. All right, so he balances it by making it a week before you can use it again. Because okay, CR9. There's nothing. There's no other way. I don't think there's. Even with like Raise Undead, you can't get this high with the CR as far as a creature under your command. And even we were looking at the new Draconic and the being able to summon a dragon. I could sit there and plug in. We could figure out what the CR of that creature is. If I had to guess, it is no higher than 6 or 7. And that's a, what was that? A 7th level spell? So, I'm just telling you this, Bone Devils are strong. Bone Devils are powerful. Bone Devils are crazy. So the fact that you can summon a Bone Devil as an action to serve you for a minute a week, once a week. So my guess is that I would say normally it's like until you finish a long rest. Blah blah. I would argue that I would say 1 week means 7 long rests. I think that's what I would say. Or you could just straight up do 1 week and just be like, no, you can't do this again until next Tuesday at 7 after 7 p.m. Tuesday. Like you could just that would be another way to do it. But tracking as far as game goes, I don't know how many people track time to the minute or the hour. So to simplify it, I would be like 7 long rests. After the 7th long rest, you can summon it again. Alright, so Bone Devils, they make 3 attacks, 2 with its claws and 1 with its sting. The claws do 1d8 plus 4 slashing damage and have a range of 10 feet. And the sting is very powerful with poison damage with a DC 14 con save. It's fine. At 15th level, you're already basically halfway to godhood, so like summoning a Bone Devil, it's really powerful, but I don't think it's gonna break your game. You'll have to prep for it. You'll have to be ready, because if your player decides this is the time I will summon the Bone Devil to our side, that's gonna make your encounter. It's gonna break your encounters. It's just gonna break them. You just have to accept it, because you can't. You can't like you almost have to prepare for it. Like if you have a big boss battle coming and you got a bunch of 15th level characters and you know Bone Devil's gonna come out, like because you just know, because it's like your players know, you know, everybody knows it's a fight that's gonna be a big fight. You gotta prep for it. You gotta be ready for that. Like and almost you could have a counter, like a banishment spell would be bye bye Bone Devil. Um That's cool. All right. On to the contracts, on to the subclasses. We will, a lot of flavor text here, it looks like. Uh, yeah, it's just flavor text. Um, so Painkiller, more flavor text about the painkillers. But what? A heavily armored death trooper of hell, the Painkiller, served to spatter, okay, flavor, leading from the front of every major infernal battle. Alright, so the Painkiller is like your knight. Your I'm the leader, everybody's gonna follow me. This artwork is amazing again. We got, again, he's popping a baleful interdict here on somebody's forehead, giving him a good old stamp on the head. So that when she runs up and swipes that sword, it's gonna do some damage. Alright, so Tenants of Pain. The Painkiller swore an oath to Dispatter when they joined the Order of Desolation. So he was saying these are the things you need to swap out. So Order of Desolation doesn't exist in Forgotten Realms. Dispatter is not a thing in Forgotten Realms, I'm pretty sure. So you just kind of like gotta flavor this for whatever world you're in, or even your home world. Or you can just put this stuff in your world. The oath commits them to lead the Hell's army and wage war against good across the timescape. So this is straight up calling you evil, like I said before. Lead from the front. Oh, okay, these are the tenets. So these are like your flavor that you gotta add to your character. I'm the front of every battle. I charge in, inspiring my soldiers and causing fear in my enemy. I will not use stealth nor hide my face. Let them see their doom. Cool. Wherever I go, I command, I give orders, I do not take them. Okay, asshole. Victory at any cost. I respect the enemy leader and will treat them honorably, but once swords are drawn, I will use every tool and trick in my arsenal to win, and they should do the same. So, yeah, so the ends justify the means, basically. And soldiers die. I care not for the lives of my soldiers, for they exist to serve my victory. They are the resources to be spent. Alright, so, alright, here you go. All you edgelords out there who read this and go, haha. You're playing in my game. It's the last one here. I care not for the lives of my soldiers. Your allies at the table playing with you are not your soldiers. Okay? They are your equals. So I would like, they don't exist to serve your victory. They are not resources to be spent. This would apply to other things. And the way that the reason why I think he wrote this is because a lot of his games have like lots of, like, he's got the strongholds and followers. Like, you gain followers, you can gain an army, and then also we have the Kingdoms and Warfare coming out. The idea that all these characters and all your characters in the games, they're going to have followers, they're going to have armies, they're going to have troops that follow them. That's what this means. Like, this should be applied to NPCs that are with you. This should not be applied to your fellow players. Now, I'm saying, okay, I want to be clear. I'm not telling you how to roleplay your character. Do whatever you want. It's fine. I'm just going to tell you what the reality of the situation is if you do this shit to your other players aren't going to, the other people at the table are not going to like you very much, and they're not going to want to play with you. Like, that's just the reality of the situation. So, I'm telling people, if you're a player and are going to play this, don't do this to your, treat them as equals. Be the leader, give commands, don't expect them to take your commands. And if they give you commands, you're free to ignore those. Like, that's fine. That's just role-playing D&D. Like, that's fine. Respect the enemy, blah, blah, blah. I'm just saying, this part is the part I would say don't do to your fellow players. They're on your side. You need them to win. Your character would know that. Like, the other soldiers, the NPCs, those would be, like, ones that he would send to die. You wouldn't send the people who are just as powerful as you. You know they're actually more resourceful, more useful to you alive than they are dead. And that's how I would kind of think about that. You could still be evil, but still value your teammates. Alright, contract with Disputer. Invoke authority. Okay, so this is the invoke authorities it was talking about before. Right? Yeah. So you get one of these. One per long rest. Okay, so they're going to be probably powerful. As an action, you invoke the authority of Disputer. A number of allies equal to your charisma modifier, whom you can see within 60 feet, may use a reaction to make a weapon attack. That's awesome. That's really cool. That's just like, everybody, attack. That's really cool. Upon invoking Disputer's authority, you gain an extra action in addition to your normal action and any possible bonus action. So that's action surge. Just Infernal Surge is action surge. Bonus proficiency, you get heavy armor. Okay, so this gives you the heavy armor. So you would probably not take Bravado as a painkiller. In fact, you'd probably take either treachery or lies, is what I would say. Probably more likely lies. Seems like this is like the archetypical painkiller with a two-handed weapon. But that doesn't mean you have to. By the throat, as an action, you can place a seal on an enemy within 30 feet. If they're large or smaller, they must make a wisdom saving throw or be grappled. When target's restrained. Okay, so you can just like grapple from a distance of 30 feet. That's really cool. He was talking about force choking. I think this is what he was talking about. So think of like, instead of choking, it would just be like holding him in place. Like maybe like a infernal collar grab. You stay there. Cool. Telekinetic seal as a reaction. Again, as a reaction. I love reactions. To an enemy moving. So, okay, the reason why I like reactions is I like legendary actions as creatures and enemies. And reactions to me are the player equivalent to a legendary action. And even though everybody can do reactions and there's creatures that have reactions, special reactions, I feel like for player characters, they tend to be more like one legendary action. And that's how they should be treated. They should be powerful. They should be good. The fact that, like I said, the fact that there's not a lot of reactions in a lot of classes, like, I think it's a missed opportunity. Like, I would almost be like when you're balancing, like, okay, Apex Legends or I'm trying to think of other video games that are very class-based. Is usually, for a class-based, you have an active ability, you have like a passive ability, and then you have a special ability. So like, I feel like in D&D, when you're making a class, you should have your actives, you should have your passives, you should have your special abilities, and then I think if I was balancing, like if I was making classes, I would always have a special reaction. Like I'd make sure every class has their own cool, interrupts the flow of combat to do a thing. Um, like I said, it could be spells. There's not a lot of reaction spells. Like reactions are part of the action economy of Dungeons and Dragons, and I don't think they use it enough. I think they could. I think we can. I think they could rebalance the game and give everything a really cool reactions. So 9th level, you can knock. Whoa! You can chuck people 30 feet. All right, I see the other theme rising in Dungeons and Dragons is like pushing people around and pushing creatures around. Um, it's fine. 30 feet's big, but it's fine. Might be a little too far. Knock prone's always cool. Especially if you time your action correctly. Oh, that's neat. Okay, so it's when they move into a space adjacent to you, you can force push them back 30 feet and knock them prone. That's basically what it is. Alright, you die on my command. Starting at 13th level, when an ally within 30 feet of you drops 0 hit points but is not outright killed, you can use your action to shout an order at them, causing them to jump to 1 HP instead. That's cool. That's also dramatic. You die when I say you die. That's just like... That's cool. Part of me's like, maybe, like, what if you did that to, like, it says ally, but what if you could do that to a boss? You just, like, you kill the boss, it's like, no, I'm not done with you yet. And then you get to keep him up for one more round? That would be so dumb and dramatic and a flex. I might allow it if a player asks me to do that. Can I use my die on command on the boss? I'd be like, yeah, sure. I don't know if I would even make it a roll. I'd probably make it a roll. Steel Mind, you gain advantage on wisdom saving throws against spells and enemy abilities. Okay, so that is interesting. Because specifically, that's not either of the saving throws you are proficient in. So this adds like almost a third proficiency. Because advantage on wisdom saving throws is a +5. Basically, mathematically. So, that's really good. But, I mean, it's 17th level. It's fine. Pain Devil. Starting at the 20th level, you can use your action to become a Pain Devil for 1 minute. Your size becomes large. You get big boy. You gain +3 to hit with damage and melee weapons. And you gain 100 temporary HP. You emanate an aura of pain that forces any enemy within 20 feet of you to make a Constitution saving throw or suffer... Oh! Wow! What a capstone! Well, on this, so it's 4d12 force damage on a failed save. Oh, okay, so that balances out. It's all or nothing. It's 4d12 if they fail, but once they make a save, they become immune to it, so they kind of like get used to the pain, or overcome it. Really neat. You become a fiend, a devil, and hell is your home plane. Remember I was talking about the banish spell? That is written specifically, meaning that if you flip into a pain devil, and somebody nearby goes, oh, banish, and they're able to concentrate on it for the full duration of a minute, you then are permanently banished back to hell. And then when you come out of your pain devil form, you're like, fuck, I'm stuck in hell again. Gotta find my way back. It's cool. That's really flavor. Level 20, you're gonna be hopping planes. Like, you probably will have, if that happens, you're like, your wizard will be like, oh god, let me just, tomorrow I'll prepare the plane shift spell. We'll all go find him in hell. That'll be our new quest. Like, let's go find, what was his name? Did I say Fred? I don't remember. Fred from accounting got him so stuck in hell again. We gotta go find him. Ooh, I like that voice. Maybe I'll use that for an NPC. All right, interdict improvements. As your painkiller levels up, the interdiction carries more power. I am death. At level 6, after placing a seal on a creature, your attacks against that creature have advantage until the end of your turn. Alright, so you can... That's neat. Run up. Get advantage. So that means you can mark somebody, run up to them, attack them. You have advantage on the strike now, which means you have a higher chance to hit, which means you have a higher chance of triggering the seal. Neat. 10th level. Bonus action to place a seal on a creature now grants you a weapon attack against them. Alright, there is the third attack. So, it's kind of... Okay. So Hell's Fury is useless if you're a dual wielder. You don't want it if you're a dual wielder. In fact, now I'm just like... Now there's really no choice. You want to take lies. And you want to wield a two-hander if you're going to be a painkiller. I hate when... This is a thing about character design that I notice sometimes is they'll design these things. If you're going to have this, you're going to have all these choices that you can make at second level. These choices need to remain useful as you level up and go on into other things. So the reason why you want to do that is you have to think like you're dumb, like your players are dumb. Okay, this is what players do. They don't read ahead. They don't. Some of you do. Some of you are probably like, but I read ahead. Some of you do. Some of you are good players. But most of the time, they're going to be like, oh man, I want to be an Illrigger. This is cool. What do? They're going to read the level 1 abilities. They'll read over this. They won't get far. They won't get that far. So what you have to assume is that they don't know what is coming down at 17th level or 6th level or 10th level. So if you go, oh, well, if they hit levels 2 and they go, oh, bravado sounds cool. I want to be bravado. And then they go level 3 and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, now I have heavy armor. Well, I'm just going to get plate. And now my bravado's useless because I got plate. That's frustrating because now they're like, well, now bravado is a class ability I bought or grabbed that's now useless. I could have grabbed treachery or lies if I thought ahead. And if a player came to me and was like, well, I took bravado thinking, but now I have plate armor, and I'll be like, yeah, fine. If you want to swap it out, swap it out. I will let you swap it out. But that's me making up for the fact that this wasn't designed with that in mind. You don't want to make your abilities get overwritten with better abilities later on that feels, especially if it's a choice like this. If it's something that you just get and it's not a player choice, you can overwrite it. That's fine. Players don't feel cheated if something more powerful overwrites something that they didn't choose. It's when they chose something that gets overwritten and they could have chose something else where then they would have both abilities. That's when players can get frustrated. So if I was just like being my characterized dumb player in my head and I pick treachery and then I'm dual wielding, I'm like, yes, cool, I'm dual wielding, it's working out great, and then I become, all right, I want to be a painkiller, I'm dual wielding painkiller, and then you get to the point where now Hell's Fury is a thing, and then you're like, oh, but I use my bonus action to attack with my offhand, but now I have to use my bonus action, but now I can, whenever I cast my thing, I can attack with, but that doesn't get me, like, that doesn't get him anything. Like, he's already attacking 1, 2, 3 times. Getting Hell's Fury at level 10 doesn't change that. He's still attacking 1, 2, 3 times, except maybe now he's popping a seal. I guess that's the bonus. Okay, I guess it's not the difference. Instead of, because seals cost the bonus action, where then he would have to choose between. Alright, that's fine. Maybe that's okay. Maybe that's okay. Maybe this entire thing I've been just talking about is moot now. But my point still stands. It's not as good of an ability, but I guess it's fine. I like the idea of the dual wielding as well. Alright, let's finish off Death Strike here. 18th level, when you consume a seal after a successful attack roll, against an interdicted creature. That's a mouthful. Let me use your reaction. Another reaction. To make it a crit? At level 18 and up, you can crit on command, it seems, as long as you have enough interdictions. So, here's a question. Is the 2d6 doubled with the crit? It says the attack deals an extra 2d6 damage to the target person. So it's saying the attack, so this would be 2d6, and if it crits, you would double this. So at level 18, it would be 3d6, and if you choose to, that just doubles. Okay, that's fine. That's fine, because the reason why it's fine is because at 10th level it increases to 1d6, and then that never increases again until you get here at level 18, where then you basically double damage on by just triggering crits on command. That's fine. That's what he chose instead of, because if he kept buffing this 1d6 damage to like 3d6, then 4d6, and 5d6, and then now you're critting with 5d6, that would make this overpowered. I think the way it currently is, that means it would be 2d12 or 4d6 with a greatsword attack, plus an additional 6d6 for 10d6 damage at level 18. It's powerful. It's a lot of damage, but I think it's balanced. Shadow Master. Alright, now we got the Rogue, the Tenets of the Shadow. Plans within plans. My enemies must never discover my true goals. I will sacrifice myself to protect my schemes. That's dramatic. He's gonna know my secret. Haha, now nobody will ever know. Oh, I'm dead. It's really cool art. Love the shadowy, starry cloak. The purpley, glowy blades. Knights. Create chaos. Disorder is my goal. Where there is peace, I must create strife. Where there is certainty, I must create doubt. If there is war, it must never end. It's dramatic. I will study my enemy. I will prepare, research, slowly build trust so that my loyalty is unquestioned, and the thought of betraying to my lord unthinkable. Hesitation is failure. I'm perfectly willing and able to kill swiftly and efficiently should the need arise. I may rely on agents, but with the opportunity presents itself, I will kill without hesitation. Okay. Against Malak is somebody in his world. I don't know who that is. Alright, so here's the invoke authorities. Fade. As an action, you can become invisible. Sweet. As part of this action, you can attempt to hide. Alright, so Cloak of Shadows from World of Warcraft. That's what that is. You're able to run up to something. Well, actually not run up to something because it's an action. Well, you can run. And then pop Fade. And get away pretty easily. That's like an escape. Or it's a way to set up an ambush. Or set up like a hidden attack. So. Invoke Authority Molluck's Blessing. As a bonus action, you can place all your remaining seals on a creature. What? You could multi-pop seals? Alright, so how many seals do you get? It's based on your charisma modifier. Alright, so let's say you have 5 seals. I want to max this out at level 3. 5 seals on one creature. That's 10d6 necrotic damage. Now you swing your weapon and you crit. 20d6 damage, level 3. It's pretty powerful. You got it. The whole world has to align for you to. Well, it doesn't have to, because you have to use a bonus action and then swing with your weapon. 1 out of 20 chance of basically just murdering something. That's very. But you know what? That's very assassin-y. What the fuck? Hold on. Oh, but invoke authority you can only do one of. Okay, that's the balancing. Because I was about to say Moloch's blessing, and then fade, and then make your attack with advantage, increasing your chance of critting. All right. You got to think of this though. Right here, multi-classing into rogue, to give yourself assassinate, and then also Moloch's blessing. So now, if you successfully hide after, so what you do is you'd hit Moloch's, you'd hit him with the uh, it's okay. So as a bonus action, you place all your seals. I'm gonna assume it's done the exact same way Baleful Interdict does, which means it's up to a range of 30 feet. So bonus bonus action, hit him with 5 seals. Okay. Move, hide as your action. Oh, yeah, hide as your action. Now you're hidden. Next turn. Oh well. No, actually, that's not how that would work. You would have to pop invoke Authority Moloch's Blessing before combat starts to get your assassin off. Then you hide. Then you try to make your attack, and you can make a big 20d6 hit if you hit with your first strike before they get to act on their initiative. And depending on if you get the surprise, you might even be able to attempt it twice before they get to act. To try to assassinate them. That's pretty cool. It's very that's pretty cool. That's thematic. It's very I think he was saying this is the high risk, high reward class. I like it. As your reaction to placing a seal on a target, you can teleport to an unoccupied space. Oh, what the fuck? Okay, so you pop Moloch's Blessing, and then you're able to just teleport right behind them. And then make the attack immediately. So that kind of solves. So as long as you are, if you do this from hidden. Okay, you could just straight up do this from hidden. That's pretty cool. And even if you miss the assassinate strike, if you hit them with if anybody hits them with any attacks in the following rounds, there's 5 seals on them. Your 10d6 of damage is gonna happen. It just won't be 20d6 with a crit, unless one of them crit. That's crazy. That's really crazy. Do you get to choose when it goes off? You can consume the seals. So you can choose. You can fish for crits. And you can just wait until... I don't know. I guess you could just leave it up until you decide, now it's time to do 10d6 damage. Or if you're over level 10, it would be 15d6 of damage. With a +5 charisma modifier, which means you have to have 20 charisma. Like that's just theoretical maximum. I usually go. The reason I do that is for playtesting. You have to go for the theoretical maximum. There's no point in just being like, oh well, like this is balanced if it's the average. It's like, yeah, of course it's balanced if the average, but you have to account for when shit gets crazy. All right, cool. Ambush, backstab, fade. This is a World of Warcraft run. Like, I don't know. I don't think Matt Colville plays World of Warcraft, and I don't know if he. I think he said one of his. I don't think he wrote these subclasses. I think he wrote everything else. I think he had other people. Let's see. If I go into the writing and design, additional. So Lars I think Lars did the subclasses. I think Lars, like based on this, Lars plays World of Warcraft, and he's making the Shadowmaster, assassin rogue in World of Warcraft because that's what it feels like. You've got your Cloak of Shadows, Vanish. Well, you don't have Cloak of Shadows. Maybe you do. I have to keep reading. You have your Vanish, which is what your fate is. You have Flash of Brimstone, which I forgot what the equivalent is in World of Warcraft, but you can teleport behind the creature. Bonus proficiency, you're proficient in stealth, acrobatics, and thieves' tools. I mean, great. It's the rogue kit. It's pretty powerful. I don't know if they needed acrobatics. Stealth and thieves' tool makes sense. I would necessarily give them acrobatics. I would make them try to have to get it or use one of their other things. Dagger Adept. Or sickles. Okay, cool. So if you're 2-weapon fighting with daggers or sickles, your ability modifier to the damage on the second attack, you can draw or stow 2 daggers. Or sickles, when you normally only be able to draw or stow 1. Your daggers and sickles do 1. Ooh. Alright, so we got a little monk weapon thing going on where it just increases the damage daggers and sickles do. Alright, again. So we go back to these fighting styles. Urgh! There's no choice here. You take treachery. Well, actually, you know what? This is actually, I would say no, not necessarily. So, I mean, +3 bonus to both your main hand and offhand attack is powerful. Lies wouldn't work because it's only for 2-handed weapons, so you wouldn't use that. Schemes, like I said, schemes you wouldn't do. Because you're not going to just wield a dagger. So it's either bravado or treachery if you're going to be a Shadow Master, probably. Treachery would be your beefy, damagey. Bravado would be if you want to have much better armor class than you would with just like leather armor. Because I think you're restricted to medium armor. And if you're stealthy, you're not going to want to wear medium armor because you don't want disadvantage. So you're going to be in light armor probably. So if you want to boost that AC up, you can take bravado instead and not wear any armor. Which would be neat. Relentless. You're a speedy boy. Only a memory. You get advantage on dex saves while taking the hide action, and it becomes a bonus action for you. That's pretty good. It's pretty late. 9th level. It kind of makes dipping into rogue as a multi-class kind of maybe not worth it. Evasion. If you're prompted to make a dex save during your half, okay, that's just evasion. I don't have to read that. Everybody knows what evasion does. Shadow Killer. You gain dark vision if you don't already have it, and you can see in magical darkness. That's cool. You can see the exact location of any creature within 60 feet using this. All right. Okay. Again, another like kind of like true sight thing, like witch's sight from warlocks, like just being able to see everything. And then 20th level, okay, here's the capstone, Shadow Form. You become a greater shadow. You gain damage. So I'm guessing it's like the shadow. Is it the undead shadow it's gonna be? This is like, or is this more like, yeah, it's like an undead shadow. It's not like the shadow demon. Okay, so you take 1d10 force damage if you end your turn on the side of an object, which I want to make a point, and this is something I do with whenever I run any incorporeal creatures, is 1d10 of damage is more likely less damage than you would take if you didn't hide yourself inside of a wall, or a floor, or a ceiling, or wherever you hide yourself in. So, like, what I would do is if I was in shadow form, I would almost always end my turn. If I couldn't end my turn behind a wall, I would end my turn in the floor. Like I would sink down into the floor and end my turn, take that 1d10 damage. Because if you stay up, you're... Well, I guess it depends on the situation. If you feel like you're pretty safe in the back, you could probably not. So your attack to drain 1d4 strength from the target. That's neat. If a non-evil humanoid dies from this attack, a new shadow rises from the corpse. Oh, just a shadow rises? It's not even one under your control, it just rises. That's dumb. Like, I don't know if that'll ever, like, would ever be... I don't know. That's just dumb. It's fun. It's fun. It's just fun. I say dumb when I mean fun. Alright. As your Shadow Master level ups, the interdiction carries more power. Marked for death. 6th level, your connection to Moloch's power deepens. If you hit an interdicted creature with a melee attack, mark down. Hmm. Okay. That's cool. It's like Sentinel. The Sentinel feat. They can't get away from you. He is the darkness at 10th level within 10 feet of any enemy. Shadows envelop you and you gain the benefits of half color. That's cool. Again, if you take that plus your bravado, you could really stack some AC there and be like pretty hard to hit without any armor on. Your shields do 3d10 damage rather than 3d6. Ooh. Well, that makes Moloch's Blessing even crazier. You don't... That's at 18th level? Do you get Assassin with 2 levels of Rogue? Or Assassinate? No. You need 3 levels. Alright, that's cool. You won't get the automatic 15, 30 d10 of damage if you can pull it off. That's good. That can't happen. That seems powerful. Let's just finish Architect of Ruin, and I think I'm gonna get off for the evening. You can check out the spells and some of this other stuff on your own. Although you know what? Let's just end it here. Architect of Ruin is just their well, I'm gonna say this, but it's the spellcaster version. So you have your fighter warrior type, you've got your roguey type, and then you've got your caster type. I like that art is amazing. The dragonborn, this like Drow shadow assassin, shadow killer. Oh, what happened here? That's really cool. The blood. The artwork's great. I really recommend grabbing this. Either join the Patreon or get it for $6.66. It's really good. But yeah, I think I'm gonna call this stream a little bit early. I don't have anything else planned. I don't have any prepping to do in Dungeons and Dragons. I will be doing some Baldur's Gate on Saturday, so come check out. It'll be 8 o'clock again. I'm gonna play until I don't want to play anymore. I get stuck or whatever. So if you want to come watch me play some Baldur's Gate, isn't that great? Yeah, $6.66. Oh, it's just like, I mean, how could I honestly? Like he said, he couldn't resist. I don't blame him. I wouldn't be able to resist either. But yeah, if you check out MCDM's other stuff, I love Matt Colville and his thought process for DMing. His stuff has this like flavor of kind of like high fantasy. Like it takes it even a little step further than I would say like Forgotten Realms does. He loves demons and devils too. Like a lot of his stuff is associated with that. So I haven't actually read through his other stuff. I don't know if I want to do a page by page of his Arcadias. That would be long streams. Also, I don't want to like I want you guys. I don't want to just yeah. I don't want to ruin that for him. Like you guys should read it yourself. Don't take screen caps on my thing. Yeah. Tuesday, and then next Tuesday we're going to continue my Tomb of Annihilation game. They're in the middle of a fight with a invisible beholder. It's not a beholder that casts invisibility on itself. I think it's spoilers if you're in my game. Maybe I'll avoid it because I know I think Valorai's here, but he's invisible. He can't be not invisible unless you use a wish spell. So it's just he's going to be invisible. Oh yeah, you don't know. He's invisible. You know this already. I'm just letting you know it's impossible to make him not invisible. Maybe you can use dispel magic. Um, I've been talking to one of my players. It won't be flower, and I'm gonna save that for Tuesday, so you guys can come try to just come see that. It's not flower. It's something even more amazing. Okay, what's your guess? Why are you saying you? Because I bet you're wrong. I'd be amazed. Yeah, no, it's nothing like that. But it's not flower, but it's the same idea. But yeah, so come check out my stream Saturday, or I'll be playing Baldur's Gate. Tuesday we'll be continuing Tomb of Annihilation. And then next week I have to figure out what I'm going to do for this stream. I don't have anything planned right now, but it will be something. We'll talk. We can either talk about more user association UA, Unearth Arcana, and we could either do that or I don't know. Oh, this is a mess. All right, guys. Thanks for chilling with me. If you haven't already, go ahead and give me a follow. You can also follow me on YouTube, where I post almost all of these VODs too, if you want to check them out or check something else out. I also try to do some highlights of the games and things I play. Future, hopefully I'm going to working on some things. I don't want to say what they are because I don't want to promise anything that I don't deliver, but I'm going to work on some things for there. Yeah. See you guys next time. Thanks for chilling with me. Have a good night, guys.